My name is Nash, and I am 59 years old. I have buried friends. I have survived recessions. I have built a company from nothing but a borrowed truck and stubborn faith. But nothing prepared me for the quiet humiliation of holding a silver tray, while my own daughter introduced me like I was hired help. That day didn't break my heart loudly. It cracked it silently. And sometimes the silent cracks are the deepest. The man I used to be. Before I was retired, before I was just helping, I was the kind of man who left home before sunrise and returned after dark. I built a logistics company with my bare hands, sweating in warehouses, negotiating contracts at midnight, driving trucks when employees called in sick. I missed birthdays. I missed soccer games. But I never missed a payment. Everything I did for one reason: my daughter, Alina. When her mother left when she was 9, Alina and I became a team. I learned how to braid hair from YouTube videos. I packed lunches with handwritten notes inside. I sat in tiny auditorium seats, clapping the loudest at her dance recitals. And every time she asked, "Dad, will I ever have a house with a big balcony?" I'd smile and say, "Bigger than that, sweetheart." When I sold my company at 56, I kept my promise in my heart. I set aside $600,000 for her first home. Not as charity. As love. The engagement party. The engagement party was supposed to be a celebration of everything we had built together. Instead, it became a lesson I didn't know I needed. The venue overlooked a quiet lake, all white drapes and floral arches. The kind of place that smelled like money and expectation. Alina floated from table to table in a silk dress that shimmered under string lights. She looked radiant. And distant. "Dad, can you fix those chairs?" she said without looking at me. "Of course." "Dad, we're short champagne." "I'll grab it." "Dad, can you pay the florist now? They're asking." Each request was small, but each one chipped something away. Not once did she introduce me as her father with pride. Not once did she pull me into a conversation and say, "This is the man who raised me." Instead, when someone asked who I was, she smiled lightly and said, "Oh, that's Nash. He's helping out today." Helping out. Like I was part of the catering team. I stood there holding a tray of champagne flutes when a guest reached over and took one from my hand without eye contact. In that moment, I realized something painful. I wasn't invisible. I was convenient. The night I chose myself. That night my house felt colder than usual. I walked past her childhood bedroom. The glow-in-the-dark stars were still on the ceiling. A dusty ballet trophy sat on the shelf. I remembered carrying her to bed after she fell asleep watching cartoons. I had always been her safety net. And safety nets are wonderful, until someone starts jumping carelessly because they believe you'll always catch them. I went to my study. The wire transfer form sat on my desk. $600,000. Enough to erase their mortgage. Enough to impress her fiancé's wealthy family. Enough to secure her future. Or so I thought. I stared at the number for a long time. Then I folded the document slowly. And I tore it in half. The sound was sharp. Final. For the first time in years, I chose dignity over approval. The call that shook us both. When I told her the next morning, the silence on the other end of the phone was heavier than anger. "You can't be serious," she said finally. "I am." "So you're punishing me because I asked for help at a party." "It wasn't about help," I said calmly. "It was about how you see me." Her voice rose. "You're being dramatic." "Maybe," I replied, "but I refuse to fund a life where I'm treated like I don't matter." She hung up. And just like that, months of silence began. The distance. The wedding planning continued without me. Photos appeared online, dress fittings, cake tastings, smiling faces. I was not tagged. Her fiancé sent one message: "We're disappointed." Disappointed. As if I had failed an obligation. Friends told me I should apologize. It's your daughter. Money shouldn't divide you. She's just stressed. But no one understood the deeper wound. It wasn't about money. It was about being reduced to an ATM with a pulse. The breaking point, but not mine. 3 months later, she called. Her voice sounded tired. "Dad, can we talk?" She came over the next day. She looked different, less polished, more real. "We didn't get the house," she admitted. I nodded. We fought about it, about money, about expectations, about everything. She swallowed hard. And I realized something ugly about myself. I waited. "I've been expecting you to solve my life." Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't even notice how I spoke to you. I didn't see it. I thought you'd always just be there." "I am there," I said softly, "but not as furniture." She laughed through tears. That was the first honest laugh we'd shared in months. The hard truth. "I think I confused love with access," she said quietly. That sentence hit deeper than any insult. Because she was right. I had taught her that my love came with unlimited access to my time, my energy, my wallet. And boundaries feel cruel when someone has never experienced them before. "I'm sorry, Dad," she whispered. "Not because of the money, because I forgot to honor you." Honor. That word meant more than $600,000 ever could. The gift rewritten. I didn't restore the original gift. Instead, I told her, "I will match every dollar you save toward your home, up to $300,000. You build it, I support it." She didn't argue. She didn't negotiate. She nodded. "That feels right." And for the first time, I saw partnership instead of dependence. The wedding day, a different father. On her wedding day, she came to me before walking down the aisle. She wasn't commanding. She wasn't distracted. She held my hands and said, "Dad, I don't want you carrying trays today. I want you carrying me into this next chapter." My throat tightened. When we walked down that aisle together, every step felt earned. Not because I paid for it. Because we rebuilt something stronger than pride. We rebuilt respect. What I learned at 59. I am Nash, 59 years old, and here's the truth most parents are afraid to admit. Sometimes we create the very entitlement that hurts us. We give without boundaries. We sacrifice without conversation. We confuse providing with parenting. Love is powerful, but love without limits becomes self-erasure. Canceling that $600,000 gift wasn't revenge. It was a reset. And that reset saved our relationship. Today, Elena and her husband live in a modest home they worked for. I helped, yes, but not as a rescuer. As a father. As a guide. As someone who finally understood that dignity is not selfish. It is necessary. The moral. Money can impress people. Sacrifice can build comfort. But only respect builds lasting love. If you give everything without teaching gratitude, you risk raising someone who values the gift more than the giver. And sometimes, the most loving word a parent can say is, "No." Because a no that protects your dignity can open the door to a deeper, healthier yes later. And that lesson, for both of us, was worth far more than $600,000.